Hi, welcome to Pauline Interviews, and today I'm interviewing a very interesting man. His name is Mark Cloudfoot, and we're here at New Renaissance Bookshop over on Northwest 23rd in Portland, Oregon. Now, New Renaissance is a wonderful place. It's been here for many years, and they're actually the largest metaphysical bookstore on the West Coast. And they do workshops and have interesting people like Mark. Now, I've just met Mark, so this is going to be a fun interview because I don't know anything about him. And the little tiny bit I do know doesn't scare me, but it's a little over my head. So Mark, let's start by you telling us who you are, what you do, and how you got into. You are a shaman, but you're a special type of shaman. But before you tell us what special type, what is a shaman?
A shaman is a person that has the ability to travel in between worlds. And
which worlds?
The world, well, we call it, there is the world of dreams and the dream of the world.
The dream of the world would be the solid, three-dimensional, well, what we think of as solid, which is not actually solid, three-dimensional universe, and then the other world, would the dream world be the spiritual world?
Uh-huh. And we have the ability to access information, conduct healing affairs there, explore and expand.
What's the difference between that world and our world?
Well, our world has been kind of isolated.
The Earth and other planets, you mean?
This entire universe is the dream of the world.
Okay.
Yes, and it has been isolated by how we have made this world serious.
And because maybe we've lost connection with the other world, the part that's our spirit?
Yes.
We've become too physical?
Uh-huh. The process of the shaman is to kind of coordinate between the two worlds, allow them to become harmonious.
I want to know how that helps us. Before I do, but how did you become interested in shamanism?
Well, that's a long story.
That's okay, we've got about 5 minutes for you to tell it.
Basically through dreaming. I had a lot of very unusual experiences in my lifetime that have kind of guided me along this path.
When you say unusual, were they challenging? I mean, was it something difficult in your life or exciting, or what kind of experiences? You don't have to be specific.
It runs the gamut.
Okay.
Like for instance, when I was a child, my parents would always take me to visit their deceased relatives in the graveyard. It was a traditional thing.
Oh, you mean, right. That was typical in those days to go to graveyards, yeah.
Around when I was 13, I had this strange experience of seeing a gravestone with my name upon it.
In a dream?
No, in physical. Well, we don't distinguish between the dream of the world and the world of dreams.
Okay.
It's all a dream.
Okay.
For us.
I'm not there yet, so I'm just trying to follow you on my plane of existence. And I'm not making fun, I'm just, so you actually, okay, let's say you were asleep, but you saw it.
No.
No,
I was
okay.
awake.
Okay.
But I was asleep.
Okay. I'll catch up yet.
While we were there, I sort of wandered around. I saw this gravestone. It had my name upon it, and it had a year of birth and a year of death. And the year of death was like 1973.
And when was the birth?
Well,
you don't have to tell us. So you were young then.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran back to tell my parents, and I dragged them to show them this gravestone, but I could not find it. It was gone. 1973 comes along. I had a near-death experience.
So it's kind of like a premonition.
Yes.
Interesting. So can I ask you, because I'm interested in near-death experiences, and I'm going to be doing some interviews on that, did you have the traditional near-death experience where you crossed over?
Well, it happened like this. I was walking down the street to buy a pizza, and I just collapsed. And I stood up out of my body, and I had like a 360-degree perception. I could see in front of me, in back of me, above, below, every different direction. And the universe was sort of like in a microcosm. I was aware of the universe as a dream.
So is it also when people say we're one, we're well connected, is that so the experience too, we're all connected?
Uh-huh.
And can I ask you, when you collapsed, what happened? What caused you to collapse at that young age?
Well, I was a child of the 60s.
Okay, well, we don't have to go into detail if you don't want to. In other words, you did have a near-death experience,
Yes.
though. Okay, so that kind of gave you some kind of awakening?
Uh-huh. And in the experience of this supermassive black hole came and I felt the wind come from it, the wind that sucks energy. And I knew it was going to take my life. But I had the ability to get back in my body.
Did you have, like some people say they're told it's not their time, or some people are told they have a choice?
No, it was my time.
It was your time.
Yes. But I was able to get back in my body. I was able to defeat death.
Well, then that must mean we have a choice of when we're going to leave and when we're not going to leave.
We do have a choice.
Yeah.
There are many options available. Death does not have to be fatal.
That's an interesting concept, but I think I understand in my own perspective what you mean. So, was that the turning point of your life where were you very non-spiritual before that, and you became more spiritual and started searching for meaning?
Yes.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth. You tell me what happened next.
Well, to continue this experience, as a result of that, I attracted a particular shaman in the spirit world known as the Death Defier. And
when you say attracted it, you dreamt about this shaman, or?
well, I eventually started to dream about him, but it's hard to define how events occur that are corresponding between the world of the dream and the dream of the world.
You've kind of blended them together.
That's what we want to do.
Right. So you're ahead of me, because I'm still living in a separate world here and the dream world here. Not that I'm not interested or, not open. I'm very open to your ideas or what actually is the experience, but I haven't.
But your interest in spirit,
yes,
something more than the regular occurrences of the day.
absolutely.
You're looking for something more, a little beyond
Yes.
the normal peripheries of your life.
And you know why I am? Because the world is beautiful, and there are a lot of beautiful things in the world, but there are a lot of things that aren't. And in order for me to live my day-to-day life and not let it drag me down, I have to turn to that part of me that I know is bigger than the physical. Otherwise, it would really drag me down.
Well, this is a world, the world of dreams is where we actually have the ability to reconcile this world, to understand the events that unfold here that can be very cruel and negative.
Now, would this incorporate lucid dreaming, where you can actually, because when I dream, and if I remember my dream, sometimes I go, oh yeah, I was thinking about that today, and there's nothing profound really, and I don't have prophetic dreams that I know of, but I know that people that lucid dream actually can go into their dreams and control them.
Yes.
Would that be part of what a shaman might do?
Yes, but it's more a little more extensive than that. It's also about lucid living. Actually, the practices of lucid dreaming came about from a fellow named Carlos Castaneda, who was an apprentice of a shaman named Don Juan, who...
Not Don Juan from the Don Juan that's the cat and everything. It's a different Don Juan, right?
Don Juan Matus.
Okay.
Yeah. At least that's how we refer to him in the
All
books.
right. Okay.
In the books of Carlos Castaneda. And he was able to enter what's called the shaman's world, which is a little different than the normal world. This is where we learn about the non-ordinary, the alternative, the extraordinary events that kind of circulate around and through, and sometimes we meet them here in this world, and sometimes they're kind of isolated from us.
If we're more open, do we meet them more often?
Yes, that's the whole idea, is to be more open.
So, just for an example, could you tell me how you would spend a day, and because you have this awareness, how it would be different than how I might spend my day?
Well, meditation is important.
That connects you with the other.
Yes. To have a, it's not really about knowledge. It's about taking the knowledge with you in a direction. It's about
using what you know.
Yes, walking your talk. So, but even so, acquiring knowledge is important, because sometimes we're not exactly ready to enter into the other dimensions, but we are ready to sort of reconcile, what we want to do, to give a direction to our lives by acquiring knowledge. We've been human for a long time now.
Now, when you say that, do you mean that we've been on this planet, or do you mean that when you say we've been human, do you mean that you've come back in a human form over and over again?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And so, what is the lesson?
Exactly. What is the lesson?
Mm-hmm. It's about acquiring experience.
And
what is the human system but an experiential system?
that's right.
We are, our entire biology is composed of having an experience.
Mm-hmm. I know people think I had a friend, and you look back on your life, and it's not all the things you acquired, but it's the experience you've had in your life that really make a difference and really count. And then when you cross on, people don't say, oh, remember so-and-so, he had a beautiful palace. You say, oh no, he was such a wonderful person, he did this and he did that. That's kind of what you mean, if we look at it in a nutshell, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to talk to you again in a little bit. We're going to do a part 2 where I want to talk, you're doing a workshop, and we'll talk about that later. I still want to talk a little bit more about, I think we have another few minutes. I want to talk a little bit more about yourself. And so you've been doing this for a long time. 1973 was a long time ago. How did you develop, step by step by step by step?
Well, different nudges and pushes. I studied different shamanic systems as a result of having that near-death experience. It took me on a path,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to learn more. Eventually, I learned how to lucidly dream, and I contacted my teacher, who is known as the Death Defier in the Carlos Castaneda system of shamanism.
Could that be, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like we think in terms of spirit guides, would that be maybe one of your spirit guides?
Well,
or beyond that?
You have your normal range of spirit guides. This was as a result of defying death.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's why the Death Defier.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was someone I attracted.
Mm-hmm.
And so he began to teach me.
How did this affect your family and your friends?
Well,
Did you lose some friends and gain some new ones?
I was somewhat on the extreme when I first started out. I have to proselytize.
Yeah, it was exciting and new to you.
Yeah, some people didn't quite understand, and some people, loved it and sort of joined in. And I met new people along the way, and it's an interesting dream.
How about your family? What did they think? Because you were probably pretty young.
Well, they've been with me through the gamut of all my little enterprises. Wondered why and how they went wrong.
Oh, no.
But they were rather lenient and
supportive.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
that's
not
great.
supportive,
But open-minded.
Allowed me to go my way.
Mm-hmm. So, so what was your path then? Did you do a non-traditional path? Did you go to college and school, get a job, have a family?
Well, I got a bachelor's degree
in
in philosophy.
I'm not surprised. I was going to jump the gun and say that.
Well, I started in mathematics, and then I had my first.
No, go ahead.
I had my first LSD experience, and I quickly went to the liberal arts.
Well, if we're going to end on that note, you got us now wondering more about you. So we're going to do a part 2. So thanks for watching Pauline Interviews, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk with, you'll see a part 2 on YouTube with Mark. We're going to talk more about his workshops and what he actually does with what we've just been talking about. Thanks for watching.